is Jill from stampwithjill.com, and today we are going to make these fun pocket money holders. So it is a designer paper pocket, and when you pull it out, it holds an ornament that holds some cash. Okay, so let's get started. We have a 4.5 by 8.5 piece of Christmas paper, and you're going to fold that in half. And we actually do not need to have adhesive for this, so all you do is fold it. You can score it at 4 1/4 if you'd like, but you can really just fold it in half. And there's a few things that I pre-did. I took some sentiments, some skinny sentiments. I like them that they're thin and skinny, and I white heat embossed those, one for the inside, one for the outside. So any skinny Christmas sentiments that you have, but this stamp set from Spellbinders works really well. Okay, and then you're going to need to have some die cuts. You are going to need to have a large scallop die cut. This is from my original Nestabilities set from about 10 years ago. You can still find these on the Spellbinders website. This, I just die cut it beforehand because it's pretty big. And this is actually a 4 1/4 scallop. So you want to make sure that you have something that's at least 4 1/4, whether it be a circle or a scallop, that's up to you. And then you need a circle for layering, and that is from the Journey Circles die set, and it's the biggest circle, which is 3 5/8. So that, you're going to need that, and then you're going to need half of one of those circles. So I just cut a second one and cut it in half. And then you're going to need some labels. I used this little label die cut because it's what I had on my table, and it is from the Large Die of the Month Club last month. Any label, punch, or die that you have in your collection will work. It just has to have some curvy edges. Some scrap white for layering, and you'll need a quarter rounder, some glue dots, and some sparkle washi tape. So let's get started. So I folded this in half. I'm going to move some stuff out of the way so you can see. So I folded this in half, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my corner rounder here, and I'm going to round all 4 corners. So I'm just going to put the end in and round all 4 corners. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the top that opens, and we're going to move that out of the way. And then on the other side of this corner rounder is a notch. And what you're going to do is you're going to notch slightly off center, so you can see it's not quite center. You're going to notch there, and then you're going to move it over a little bit and notch again. So you're going to get this W looking thing. It's really just a notch for the pull tab. So you don't have to worry about that because we're going to fold washi tape over it. So I am using gold sparkle washi tape today. And what we're going to do first is we are going to go around the present. So this is actually going to be a present. So you don't have to use adhesive on like to make a pocket. You're just going to use the washi tape to hold it together. So I am literally just going around with the gold washi tape. It's probably not perfectly straight. If you have grid paper, you can make it perfectly straight, or a ruler. It's really not that important to me. These are last minute money holders, so you want to be able to make them pretty quickly. So you can see it's not totally lined up, so you want to just use your fingers and kind of make sure that's nice and tight. And then we're going to do it again to make the present. So what we're going to do is we're going to make just a little bit of this stick up, and we're going right down the center of the present. So if it's a little tiny bit off, it doesn't matter. You just want to kind of have it centered on to cover up that edge of your notch. So same thing, we're going to go right around the other side, and I'm just going to pull this and do that. Now they're not going to be stuck together like this. I'm going to seal those with my fingers, and then what you're going to do is you're going to peel this back carefully and tuck this down. And when you tuck it, that little point from the notch goes away. And now you have your pocket. So what we are going to do is we are going to decorate the front of the pocket. Before we go ahead and make the inside of the pocket that holds the money, the ornament, we're going to finish this up. So you are going to need to make a label. So I pre-die cut 2 of these tiny labels, and I put a score line in one because that we're going to fold in half and we're going to use it for the tab. So I'm going to set that one aside. This one we are going to use for the front, but we're using it to layer it. So we are going to have to cut it in half. So we can go ahead and do that. This one has little piercing marks on it, which makes it real easy to cut in half, but no one is going to see it, so it doesn't have to be perfect. So now what we're going to do is we need to make a glitter label to match this. Now, if you have glitter paper to match this, you could just die cut that. I do not have gold glitter paper, so I'm going to make my own, especially since it's a little piece. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take 3 strips of gold washi tape, and the link for this tape and all the supplies will be in the description of the video and on my blog. So what we're going to do is we're going to use those 3 pieces right there. And so you can see it's instant glitter paper, and it's just enough to cut one of these. So I have a little tiny piece of washi tape here that we are going to use, and we are going to go ahead and die cut this. So for video purposes, I have my little sidekick here. I'm going to lock that down on the table. And what we are going to do is we are going to line this up. So you can see, I'll put it right up here. I have a little bit of tape to hold it down. Put my plates on there, and because it's less than 2 inches, we can crank it through. All right, so now we have a label. Cute little die cut label, so I'm going to move this out of the way. And then we have the perfect gold label. So this one we're going to leave together, but the one we cut, we're going to use to make the layering. So what you're going to need are some foam squares. So I'm going to put 4 of these on here. 1 on each, or 2 on each one, like so. And then we're going to go ahead and layer the glittery one on there. Okay, so here we're going to just put this point and kind of just make a layer, like just like that. And then we're going to do it again on the other side. And there's going to be a space, and that is okay. That foam square might be a little bit too far up, but I think we're just, oh, no, it's good. Okay, so now you have this cool little sparkly thing for the front of your present. We're going to put some more foam squares on the back. So 4 of these little ones. And we are going to stick it right to the front of the present. All right, so I move those little guys off screen. They stick to my fingers, they stick to my dog's nose, they stick to my pants, the little guys. I'm sure you have those little back of those foam squares all over. Okay, so now we're just going to line this up and center it with the front of the present. All right, so you're almost done. So we're going to go back to the sentiments, and I really like these because they're super, super simple in a nice clean font. So I'm going to take my big scissors here, and I am just going to hand cut them. It would be really, really tight to try and stamp on a super skinny piece of paper because this little strip is way less than 1/2 inch. So I just used some scrap for heat embossing these. And we're just going to trim both of them. And I like to cut them pretty close to the edge, so there's just a little room for layering. The skinnier they are, the better. So I'm going to move those. And then I just have this 1/2 inch piece of, what do you call it, whipped cream cardstock. And I'm just going to make, because these are super skinny, the tape is actually wider than the sentiment, the tape runner. So I'm just going to use a little bit of this green glue. And I'm going to glue that right on there. And I'm going to glue the Merry Christmas. And again, this is just scrap, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And we're just going to hold those down for a second, and they will be dry enough to trim. All right, so let's go ahead and trim those. I'm going to trim it pretty close. I mean, this part of the side fits really pretty nicely. There isn't a whole lot of trimming that needs to happen. And it's just a little bit. I mean, if you have to trim it on your paper trimmer because you need perfect edges, go for it, but I do not. So here we're going to put it right on the front of our pocket. Again, I'm going to use more foam squares. I find that these foam squares stick really good to glittery things, and tape runners do not. So if you are putting stuff on top of it, use your foam squares or use liquid glue. All right, so now the pocket is actually complete. So let's move on to the inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish trimming this sentiment so it's ready to go. And this one is going to go on the inside. Okay, so we're ready. All right, so now we're going to need the pieces for the pocket on the inside. All right, so here's the folded tab, and you are going to need some sparkle trim, and that comes like this. There's gold and silver on there, and I am using gold to wash or to match the washi tape. And you are going to need some glue dots for this part. So you're going to take a glue dot and you are going to put it right here on the inside, and another one, put it right there on the inside. And what you're going to do is you're going to put the back side of your sparkle trim into that glue dot, and you're going to make it go around to create the loop, and put the other end into your glue dot. So I'm going to set that right there. You could close it up, but I didn't do the other parts yet. So big scallop. Tape runner or liquid glue is fine. I'm using liquid glue because it's right here on my table. All right, so there we go. We have a nice round scallop. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put this as the pull tab. So I like to do it like this. I like to put a little tiny bit of glue here and a little tiny bit of glue here. Put it in your fingers like that. And then because we haven't put the bottom part, it doesn't matter where it goes. So we're gonna just put that right there. And I did forget one little tiny step, but we can still do it. All right, so you're gonna pinch and hold. That'll be dry in about 10 seconds. Now, I didn't like these little tiny pointy things from the label. So we're just gonna snip those right off. And just make sure you don't cut your ribbon and you don't cut your scallop. You should do it beforehand. So now it looks a little bit more like a pull tab, and there you go. So now we have that. Now we need the pocket, and we're gonna add a little bit more washi tape. It looks really pretty with washi tape around it. So I'm gonna put it right up on the edge. Can't quite see the edge from this angle. All right, so let me just adjust to this a little tiny bit. All right, so there we go. Now, you can trim these to be perfect, but I'm gonna actually leave the tabs there because I'm kind of lazy and don't want extra steps when I'm creating. So you put a little thin layer of liquid glue, and you are gonna make sure this is at the top, and then this goes at the bottom. And you're gonna put it just like that, and you're gonna let it dry. This takes about 10 seconds. This is my favorite glue, it dries pretty quickly. And then all you're gonna do is you're gonna tuck those edges. I made them just a smidge too big, so I have to trim them anyway. But they do tuck right behind there, like so. This one is too big too. So if you have just a tiny, tiny bit, like that, then it tucks right behind there and adds some, I think it moved. Okay, so now we're ready to add the sentiment, which is right here. Again, some foam squares. Now, these are mailable. It will fit into a standard size envelope. The foam squares add a little bit of bulk, so just take out a layer or two if you're worried about the postage, but so now we have 'Tis the Season for gift giving. Now, all right guys, you can see that this holds the money. The gift card does not quite fit. It's a little bit big. If you make this with a bigger square and a bigger circle, you'll have better luck, but you'll have to remeasure from what I provided. Or if they have one of those tiny gift cards, but when you put it in, it's gonna stick up past the top, so that's not gonna work. All right, thanks for joining me today.